It gained over 4,000%. Alright, welcome to part 1 of LOB as an investment. This part 1 is going to serve as an overview, and I'm going to talk about what we're comparing as well as what I used to get these things. So let's start. What we're comparing is Blue Eyes White Dragon, Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon, LOB sealed, singles, as well as traditional benchmarks like the stock market, the S&P 500, and additionally the overall set totals. All right, and what I used to get there. How we got here is I had a Beckett Yugioh magazine lying around. I don't know if you're familiar with those. They're pretty awesome. They were the old school price guides. They don't have many more. They're magazines. They're dinosaurs. But what this Beckett Yugioh price guide did was it gave us a low and a high value for near mint to mint condition cards. And the low value would have been, if you searched really hard, you could find it for a good deal. For example, Trihorn Dragon First Ed would have been like $15 if you search real hard for it back in 2005, June or July, versus the high was $32 would have been retail. So those are those two different prices there. And I do want to say I used this June-July Beckett magazine of 2005 because that was about 3 years from the release date of LOB, Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Set. And that gave people time, that would have given you time as an investor, as someone who saw this trend happening, to jump on that wagon, versus it's really hard to see when something comes out that it's immediately going to be hot. So 3 years, and this is right around the time of the GOAT ban list. I think GOAT ban list for Yu-Gi-Oh! Was April 2005. This is June, July 2005. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So I think this is a really good comparison to use. And again, those benchmarks that I use are the S&P 500 index. That's the 500 largest US stocks, as well as gold 1 ounce price. I also took the S&P 500 with dividends reinvested value, and that gave us the best gain over this is about a 19-year period we're talking here, from July 2005 to September 2024. Here's that S&P 500. Here's the gold 1 ounce price. Here's inflation. That's another thing. Inflation, so if you had $1 in 2005, it would be worth $1.61 in 2024. That's big, and I'm kind of a finance guy, so I adjusted all these gains for inflation. Everything's been adjusted to 2024 dollars. So $23.50 back in July of 2005 would be adjusted to be, it's probably like $30 or something in 2024, and that $30 price is what the benchmark was for this specific card. And so you do, it's like 285 subtract whatever that newly benchmarked with inflation price was, divided by that new price, equals this percentage, right? And that's what I got. Another thing is, some cards I couldn't actually find on TCG Player because that's what I use for the 2024 values, right? If it's in a white cell, I couldn't find it on TCG Player. So what I did is I went to eBay and I found the sold listings for PSA 8s, or in the case of this right here, sealed. Obviously that's not a PSA, but we use PSA 8 because that is near mint condition, and that's exactly what the Beckett Yugioh price guide is using for all of their comparisons. So I think it's perfect. The only discrepancy we'll probably have is these are sold prices, not asking prices, which is every other price that's on TCG Player that I listed is an ask price. And I think that's a good place to wrap up the overview video. Thank you for watching. I'm looking forward to putting out a part 2, maybe a part 3. Part 2 will probably be an analysis. And subscribe. Thank you.